Hello and welcome to Chip Advisor. Hello, yes, I'm Phil. We are Chip Advisor. We are a food-based podcast, and we talk about, well, very specifically about different types of food. And today we are talking about Pavarotti's favorite dessert. So that is exciting. The apple crumble. We may venture into other crumbles, but we'll start traditionally talking about apple crumble. I'm here with Lewis. How are you, Lewis?
I'm very well, Phil. It's very good to be here today.
Good, good. And I can hear them all shouting.
Harry, where's Harry? Harry!
He's here. Harry, how are you?
Oh, I'm all right, thank you. Pavarotti's favourite dessert?
Yes,
That's exciting.
it
Well,
is. I mean, it's one line that I read. I haven't read any of the backup to the story, but once you've read it, it must be true.
of course, you read it on the internet, so we can take it as read.
Of course.
Exactly. I mean, I haven't read anywhere that he's got a different favourite dessert, but I haven't looked. So
Oh,
he looked like he'd had a few apple crumbles in his time, old Pavarotti.
yeah, and custard.
Yeah. Oh, custard. We will get on to custard.
Oh,
I am sure. I'm very excited because before the podcast, Harry has teased a family crumble story, and I don't want to build it up too much, Harry, but that is to come.
oh yes, a Brennan family crumble story, which involves black currants.
Black currants.
Yes.
Well,
Oh, right.
there's controversy here already.
Oh, we've
Yeah,
gone
yeah.
early on this. This is
What a tease! Tease
yeah.
it. Keep them listening.
Yeah. I mean, and just to say it was, yeah. No, well, I'm not going to say any more because I mean it's quite a tale, but we'll get on to that.
Oh, no one is switching off just yet on that basis. So, apple crumble. Let's start from the very beginning. There's a couple of theories as to the start of apple crumble. One claiming that Mrs. Beeton in 1860 had an apple crumble recipe in a book. I don't believe that's correct because it was breadcrumbs on plums. I don't like breadcrumbs on my plums, and I don't think that breadcrumbs on plums equals a crumble. Are we agreed on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely, definitely. Is it
Yeah.
breadcrumbs on plums? It's a shame Mike's not here, really, because I think he probably would have had something to say about that. But there was a dignified silence from Lewis and myself.
Yeah, we've got the highbrow
Yes,
hosts
yeah,
this
absolutely.
week.
I think you're right. I think you are right. So the actual basis of apple crumble, I think it's fairly accepted that this is where crumble began, was World War II. And
Okay.
that was because people were big fans of apple pies, and they have been for many, many years. And when I say apple pies, I think a lot of this was just controversially pies without even a pastry base. It was just the pastry on top that people
Right.
liked. But people couldn't afford all the ingredients for an apple pie, for the pastry for an apple pie. So they started making apple crumble because it requires slightly less ingredients, and you didn't have to use butter. You could use lard or something mixed with flour and sugar, and that would be your topping for your crumble. And that is where the crumble we know today comes from.
Oh, well, I'm very glad that crumble came through after the Second World War or during it, because I'm very much prefer a crumble to a pie.
Yeah, same. I feel the ratios are better.
Yes.
I thought you were about to say, Lewis, you know, if there is a silver lining to the Second World War, it's that crumble was invented. But you didn't say that, so that's fine. But yeah, no, I think I think crumble is preferable to pie. It's interesting, isn't it? How, because when I think of an apple pie, I don't think of necessarily having a pastry on the bottom, unless it's a Mr. Kipling's apple pie, but that's something different.
Of
You know,
course.
it's very much pastry on top. Whereas when you're talking about a savoury pie, you've got to have the pastry on the bottom. So yeah, how that differential comes is quite an interesting thing, isn't it?
It's strange, isn't it? Yeah, I
Hmm.
could probably allow for a non-pastry base, on a fruity pie. A fruity pie is fine. Yep.
Yeah, it's because you can have ice cream with it, and if you can have ice cream with it, then you'll forgive anything, really. I think.
Correct.
So yeah, lack of base. But
Very
yeah.
true.
Mm.
Yeah, surely we should have some sort of music here about it. It's all about the bass.
You know what?
Oh,
Or possibly not.
no.
Yeah, I didn't prepare to the extent that I have every song at hand, unfortunately. So
Phil.
yeah, no, I don't have All About the Bass
by
Megan
Megan Trainor.
Megan
I think
Trainor.
that is correct.
Yeah, quite a difficult one, that, because it's seemingly quite a child-friendly song, but there is an awful lot of swearing in it.
Yes,
So you do have to find the radio edit on whichever listening device you have.
That's a good
Correct.
tip there for our listeners, Harry. Well done.
Because there's a lot of questions. What does this mean and what does that mean? When I recall my, I don't know how old she was at the time, but my daughter listening to it, and the point of the song is quite good. It mean, you don't have to be stick thin and this, that, and the other. But there's an awful lot of choice language in it.
there is. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
A lot of effing and jeffing for a children's
A lot
party.
of, yes.
Yeah, we could do without that.
I mean, yeah, it depends how much Fanta they've drunk, but I mean, it's fine.
Yes, very true. Very, very true. Right. So when I think apple crumble, I immediately go back to year 6 at Crumble Middle School, and we had a teacher who was very sexist called Mrs. Bartlett, and I don't know if she's still around. So she may not be able to answer back to this. God rest her soul, if indeed it's dead. But if it's not, I hope she's well.
Right, okay.
No.
I mean, you're furious. I'm excited for this story, Phil.
I'm not happy because I didn't have she did our home economics lessons. So half the year it would be textiles, half the year it would be cookery. And we had to use a cookery book that was passed through the generations that she had written for years and years and years. So Harry probably used the same book as me. There were bran parking cookies, which are not nice. A baked apple, that's not a pudding, Mrs. Bartlett.
Just as an aside, you used two phrases there. You started with home economics, then it went to cookery. What was it called? Because I did food technology, and I feel it's one of those subjects which has been rebranded at many points.
Well, yeah,
along my school career, anyway.
You probably did food technology because they had to make it sound jazzier because you were in London.
That is okay. Yes, I'll accept that as a. Whereas you country bumpkins were quite happy with a bit of home cooking.
Yeah, well, it's home economics. So
economics.
They split the class in two, and yeah, they had just the textiles where you'd have to cross stitch a bookmark and it would take you 6 weeks, or you would have cookery.
But in home economics, were you also figuring out the gas bill?
Great question. I don't know why it's called economics.
Oh, okay, I've always wondered that.
Yeah, it's an excellent question.
Yeah, I don't know. It incorporated the two, didn't it? I do recall Mrs. Bartlett, or Heather Bartlett. That was her first name.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know why I remember that.
Well,
I don't remember.
I don't remember. To search to see if she's still alive.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all searching now. Yep.
Heather Bartlett, teacher, former Hitchin teacher, banned after kissing students.
Okay, right, good.
That's got to be a different
Yes,
one.
yes.
I mean, it would have been a girl because she hated boys.
I don't.
Boys school.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, it's a Hitchin Boys School. It cannot be the same person. Yeah,
but I can't. I don't remember her hating men or boys. I mean, why do you say that?
Oh well, here's why I say that. That leads me back to my story. I can confirm that the teacher Heather Bartlett, that if you Google her, you'll find news stories about, was not the Heather Bartlett we had. We had by the point I was in the school, she was an elderly lady, and I'm sure she meant well, but she hated boys. And we would go through we did her recipe book, like I say, oat cookies, baked apple, and very, very dull things. And then it came to the week where we did apple crumble, and I really enjoyed cooking. I used to cook with my mum quite a lot, and I really enjoyed cooking. And I made what was by far and away the best crumble in the class. Like, it was 10 out of 10, but she rated it a 9 out of 10, which was hugely disappointing because she then gave Jenny Levers, as she was then, who's a lovely, she's a lovely girl, Jenny Levers. She's not called that anymore because she's got married, but she's a lovely girl, and I've got nothing against her, but there's no way her crumble deserved a 9.5, and that's what she got. And I mean, it was pure sexism. She just couldn't bear to suggest that a boy could have cooked a better crumble than a girl, and I'm confident that's the reasoning behind my 9.
Well, if Jenny's listening, I think we could put this to the test. Feel free to make a crumble. Phil, make a crumble. Let's make this happen. I'm very happy to be the judge of this long-standing grudge that you hold.
Oh, I don't hold a grudge against Jenny. She's lovely. Although she doesn't live around here anymore, which doesn't make her less lovely. But anyway, so that's all I think about when I think of crumble. I was so angry because I did the perfect ratio of cinnamon to apples. I peeled the apple. There used to be a Mrs. Bartlett used to always challenge children to peel the apple all in one go. You know.
Yeah.
So you get like a huge spiral.
Yes.
And I nearly did it. Again, I believe that day I had got the most apple off in one go. I really did nail those 2 hours of my life, only to get second place to Jenny Levers.
So tell us more about Mrs. Bartlett's recipe for apple crumble. What are you putting in there? We've heard apple, we've heard cinnamon. Is there anything else that you're sort of elevating it with?
Well, I would have gone off piece slightly. The ratios of butter to flour would have been increased in butter's favour when I was doing it. And I sprinkled cinnamon on top as well. I can't remember if that's part of the original recipe. And I know it doesn't sound glamorous now, but at the age of, I don't know, 11 or something, it was glamorous. Cinnamon was a spice that had only just come over to this country.
Pre-cinnamon challenge for the kids.
Absolutely. So
it had come over with pasta from foreign climes in the early 90s.
Absolutely.
There again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just want to reverse slightly.
yes,
So you wonder why Mrs. Bartlett only gave you 9 out of 10 in one sentence, and in the very next sentence you said, "I went off-piste slightly." Okay, so I think that might be your answer. You know, she was such a stickler for the recipe, and you've added more butter and more cinnamon to Mrs. Bartlett's recipe.
Yeah, I mean,
Jenny,
in a way, you've thrown a recipe in her face.
yeah, I mean,
you know better.
Yeah,
and expecting the full 10 out of 10.
11-year-old boy suggesting that the mid-60s-year-old Mrs. Bartlett, doesn't know as well as you do, and good old Jenny. Friend of the show, Jenny Levers, formerly, she adhered to the correct amount of butter and, just the half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Cinnamon can be overpowering, Phil, just because you like it,
I mean, my guess is that young Heather Bartlett in I don't know, early 120s or whatever she was when she was teaching me, she had probably not heard of cinnamon. I mean, she probably didn't even have cinnamon in her recipe. And she probably looked at it and thought, I'm not having that foreign muck. and that's probably,
not even been invented.
Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe that's what marked me down. Who knows?
It could be. It's the cosmopolitan elite. In Lewis's food technology, cinnamon was rife.
Cinnamon, nutmeg. We were breaking out all the big spices.
Yes, not in rural Dorset.
90s Tottenham was quite the hive of
There's just chucking saffron all over the place.
Saffron, yeah.
Saffron.
Yeah. A gram of saffron is like worth more than your house, but they probably just littered it everywhere.
Not in London, it's not with the house prices there.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, true, very true. So, if crumble, what comes to mind when you think crumble, then, Lewis? Because you as I remember last year, I think you have about 1,000 apples fall from your trees.
Yeah, we do. We have an incredible magic apple tree in our garden, which looks like, well, it has half fallen over, but still makes an incredible harvest of Bramley apples. Which, and I'm a big fan of a crumble. Like I say, better than a pie. I don't have any stories of making it when I was sort of very young, like you. I don't have a special family recipe like Harry, but I am quite passionate about what goes on the crumble. I don't know if we're going there today.
Oh, we're going there, but if you suggest for a minute what I think you're going to say, our friendship might be over.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I will be furious. We will get there.
Get the tense music on, Phil.
Yeah.
Right, Lewis.
About to tell us.
Okay.
Lewis, what do you put on your crumble?
Okay, if I have my favourite choice in the world, custard and vanilla ice cream.
Okay. Right, that's fine.
Well,
yeah, sorry.
No problem.
Okay, where did you think I was going, Phil? What would have been?
Can I guess?
Yes, of course you can.
Oat. It's going to be some sort of rolled oat was going to be your problem.
Yeah.
In the crumble mix.
Oh, the crumble mix.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't mind a bit of crumble, but I was talking about what's going on
the side. Sorry.
What's your liquid element?
God. The release of tension then was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
I mean, I was wondering how bad it could be, what I could be adding that would make you so upset. Sort of ketchup, mayonnaise, or something really.
Sour cream. What?
I thought there was an awful. I felt like single cream and Phil's gonna leave.
It's too loose. Loose.
One of those aerosol spray creams.
Furious. Now you're talking. No.
So everyone relax. It's okay.
Everyone
muesli on top of your crumble is not what you want, is it?
It's not. It's not. I don't want oats on a crumble. They are so unnecessary, and also they are risky. I can't buy if I'm out in your restaurant and I want an apple crumble. I have to ask, are there oats on top of it? Not because I've got an allergy, but because there's a chance I may not be able to leave your establishment for a good hour afterwards because it'll ruin me, oats. So yeah, I don't like it when people put oats on crumble. Just note that if anyone is gonna, if we ever get enough listeners that someone wants to make me an apple crumble, please don't put oats on it. It's sacrilege. It's just outrageous.
Yeah, okay, so it's for medical reasons, which you don't need to explore, but that's why you're not having oats.
Seemingly, I mean, I did a bike ride once, a charity bike ride, and we were touring churches around. We did like 150 miles in 3 days, and it was lovely. And we were also there was a trailer. There were multiple trailers we were pulling along and taking turns to pull along and dropping off food to various Trussell Trust, not shops, but drop-off points, and 2 church halls. So the first night we stayed in a church hall and they made us like a lasagna, and that was lovely. And the next day we stayed in a different church hall, and they were really lovely. And the next morning, some old dears made us all breakfast, and that was really nice. And then they said, "Oh, they brought out big bowls. They said, "Oh, for your bike ride, you want this big bowl of porridge." Thanks. I didn't really want to look rude, so I had this big bowl of porridge. Anyway, effectively, fast forward 10, 20 minutes, and at this point, they've decided they want to pray for the cyclists, so they've taken us into the church. I have to then wander back towards the church hall where they've served us breakfast to use the facilities, and without being graphic, the facilities are opposite the kitchen door where these old ladies are washing up now, and they were thin doors, and I wasn't well, and and so I'm in there for a good half an hour. The rest of the cyclists are just waiting for me outside, ready to resume our long bike ride. Now I'm in there for a good half an hour. go to flush the toilet. There is no water in that cistern. The whole toilet is the toilet is completely empty. So I then the only option
Was
I've
it completely empty, Phil?
well, the
No, it-
toilet cistern was empty. The toilet
Okay.
was full, and there are not enough dignity sheets in the world to cover up what happened in there. And I just had to leave a few bits of paper on the top and just go and resume my bike ride. The poor old dears.
Did any of the sheets of paper contain an apology?
No, they didn't. No, but the old dears. Someone's probably found that, and I've not been to Gillingham since. So, yeah, I don't think I could ever go and visit Gillingham. It's just awkward. Yeah, so don't put oats on a crumble, is what I'm saying.
Right. Okay. Note that down. Okay.
Yeah, and there's other toppings that people put on crumbles. I've heard cornflakes, and much as I love cereal, don't do that. Cornflakes, muesli, nuts, chocolate. It's not for me on a crumble. Harry,
you're a traditionalist.
I am. It's certainly on a crumble. I am. Yeah, certainly. Harry, what's the situation with your family? You say you've got some history here.
Oh well, I mean, there's a Brennan family story attached to crumble. I mean, it's not apple crumble. I mean, these days, just to talk about apple crumble briefly, you might put a few raisins in there. Would that be all right? No, can't do raisins. Not on the topping. Not on the topping. Yeah. On the in the actual.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
No.
Why?
No? Well, because it's just a different taste, flavor, texture. You know.
Bit of rhubarb.
Yes.
Well, rhubarb crumble. I mean, rhubarb.
What about apple and rhubarb? Just really throwing it out.
That would work. That would work, wouldn't it? Yeah,
I'd eat it.
So you're happy with rhubarb, Phil, but not raisins?
Raisins, I feel, are a very patronizing food. You give them in a very small box to young children, and they are the people that should consume raisins. They'll keep raisins in business, so we don't have to worry about giving them to adults unnecessarily. I don't see the point in raisins, currants especially, because they're crunchy and horrible. But raisins, there's little use, and don't use them as a filler in a crumble. Again, whoever is going to generously make me a crumble, please don't use oats or raisins.
I mean, no one is going to dare make you a crumble. You're such a crumble.
I mean, for someone who went so rogue from Mrs. Bartlett's recipe, you're quite strong on what the recipe should be.
It's just that I've perfected it over time.
Okay,
that's
put it in a book.
I should put it in a book. Maybe that's what all these episodes are leading to. Who knows?
Oh, a cookbook.
A cookbook deal. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Tie in, like it. Yeah. No. So, yeah. I mean, we ate a lot of apple crumble. I mean, we also had an apple tree growing up. I mean, that was absolutely fine.
Is this sad? Is this a sad story or a positive story? Just wondering what music you would like.
I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult to really pinpoint. There are the elements of sadness. There are elements of medical dire straits, but it's yeah, just yeah. So it was a wonderful home life we had. My mother did much of the cooking. My father did some of the cooking as well. It was a lovely time, an innocent time, until it came to the day where my mother produced us a black currant crumble.
Ooh, controversy.
Black currant crumble. I'm gonna guesstimate the black currant crumble had 98% black currants in terms of the whole product. The whole product. You're gonna have to stop that music, I'm afraid. So it's ruining. Yes,
it was ruining the flow. The flow
was ruining it. I couldn't concentrate because I was worried about Mike Reed, whoever it was, in the mid '80s, and
start from scratch, and I'll delete that music and edit that bit out.
Oh no! It's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. We'll carry on.
I haven't really been listening, if I'm honest. I've been too busy about adjusting the sad music volume.
Oh, okay.
So Harry,
right.
you
Well,
you've got a family situation here about a family
it's a
situation that
family. I
happened.
mean, yes, it is. It is a family situation. It is legendary now within our family. The blackcurrant crumble.
Controversial.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not really. I mean, in and of itself, the blackcurrant crumble is not controversial. I believe you can have any flavor crumble that you like.
Yeah,
Um,
it's quite sharp.
it's yes, it is quite sharp. Can I just stop you one moment because my sister Jane is calling, and I'm
Yes, of
just going to
course.
get her live on the hello Jane, you are live on a podcast. Please don't swear.
Oh,
I-
no.
And
Oh, sorry. So ring you back?
no, it's absolutely fine. I'm just about to tell the story of the blackcurrant crumble.
Oh, God.
So you can listen along if you like, or you can yeah, the heartburn indeed. The heartburn, I mean, it is coming. I haven't got to that bit yet. I was just explaining that crumbles come in many different flavors, and we did actually have apple crumble as children, but our mother's favorite
With no
was
sugar. No
with
sugar.
all right, okay, you're spoiling it now, Jane. This is my anecdote, and I am trying to tell it, so don't preempt me. Um, yes, so blackcurrant, there was at least 98% of the whole pudding was made up of pure blackcurrant, right?
That's strong.
Yeah.
Are
Uh,
you talking to me or the podcast?
the me and the
Confused.
podcast. Oh, you can talk to everyone on the podcast. We're all here. Well,
Oh, hi.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, Jane.
You can't hear us because we're in Harry's ears.
Can't hear
Yeah.
anyone if
yeah,
it's
yeah, you
moving.
can't hear anyone. We're abandoning this, Jane. Can I call you back in a minute?
Of course, yeah, of course. All right, bye.
Bye. Sorry about that. Yeah. So 98% fruit crumble, very healthy. So you'd think a good
Is that
8.
is that including topping?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, including
Good
topping.
golly, Miss Molly.
Yes, so blackcurrant stewed up for a period of time to get them all sort of slightly softer. A good 8 inches of blackcurrants in a good um,
Were
a
the,
heavy oven-proof dish,
were the
and then
blackcurrants from your garden?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were inevitably, or from the old Holt Fruit Farm, which we used to call the Strawberry
Ah,
Farm, but that's something else.
the
Um,
pick your own, yeah.
the Pick Your Own Farm, which yes, which that's another story, but we won't
Yeah.
get into that at the moment. A good 8-inch thick crumble with the lightest dusting of crumble on the top, just and absolutely no oats in sight, just
Thank goodness.
your classic recipe. But yeah, just the dusting, just the lightest dusting, like you're grating parmesan over your bolognese,
Oh, don't
and
get him started on grating. Don't get
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't get
Oh,
Harry
yeah.
started
Actually,
grating.
grating.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lewis,
Don't
sorry.
start.
Sorry.
Don't get me started.
Sorry, but I saw you set your teeth then at the very thought of the grater. Anyway, so and that would be presented to us. And we did actually, and to be fair, we used to have it with custard, which did have some sugar in it, but there was 100% no sugar in that crumble. And
Oh.
it famously gave my brother heartburn after having this crumble one I can't. We must have had it during the week. I didn't actually slot it into my Brennan Food Week in an earlier podcast, but yeah, we used to have this seasonally. Of course, we wouldn't have it in the winter.
Well, of course not.
But yeah. So that was the crumble, and it was pretty sharp. Put it that way.
So,
Yeah.
did your dad like the crumble, or was he too sensible to say otherwise?
Oh, my dad is far too sensible. My mother ruled our house with a rod of iron, quite
So,
frankly.
so
And he,
was the lack of sugar a health thing on your mum's part, or what was the kind of thinking there?
I just think she just thought it was character building. I think you know, you cope with this pudding, and you can cope with the brickbats that life throws at you. Yeah. I think no, I think that was part of it. And she just I mean, she's not a lady who believes in sugar really. As I mentioned when we talked about blancmange.
Ah,
Um,
yes. Yeah.
but yeah, so I mean, it's like frankly horrific, but I mean, we used to eat it. Otherwise, I mean, there wasn't anything else. So you didn't, we weren't a family in which my mother said, "Oh, would you like to? Shall I make you something else? Would you like
Yeah.
just have some ice cream?" No, no, no. The 3-line whip in our house. You ate the crumble, or you got nothing at all. Yeah, and I mean, it sounds sad, but we all ended up all right, I think.
Yeah, you're fine now. I mean, and it's maybe a message to the children who might listen to this podcast to
Yeah.
just eat what you're given.
Eat what you're given. Yeah,
And-
it's almost, a threat to my children, really, that I could produce this if they
Oh,
don't pull
said-
themselves into
yeah.
line.
Eat what you're given, as long as it's got oats scattered
Oh,
liberally
well,
along
yeah,
the top.
yeah. Unless, yeah. The
Correct.
I mean, I don't know. But the only exception, and I have no idea how he got away with this, was that my brother said that he didn't like fish, and for some reason, my mother believed.
What are you doing? You're not a fish, Harry.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So he didn't partake of the
Right.
whiting, but what he actually had instead, I can't remember now. But he didn't like fish, and that was allowed. Whereas you couldn't say,
Oh.
"Oh, I don't like the crumble."
Yeah. Was
because
he always the favourite child?
Well, I mean, just between. I mean, and bear in mind, no one else is listening. Just between the three of us, I am actually the favourite child. But so how maybe he claimed it was for medical reasons he didn't like the fish, but anyway he didn't eat the fish, but he had to eat the crumble. There was only so far our mother could be pushed. But she also actually reminded me when Mrs. Bartlett's recipe for baked apple, she also made us have baked apple sometimes. But that was a cored apple with sugar in the middle. But I presume it was brown sugar, which was slightly healthier, or
Brown sugar, yes.
demerara, as it used to be called.
Yeah.
And the aforeheard Jane, my sister, got very angry about having to eat a baked apple. But she was older and braver. I'm talking sort of late 80s to mid 90s with the crumble, and we all did as we were told.
Well, the thing is, Jane, being youngest child, can probably get away with.
Yeah, and a girl.
Yeah, but because by that point, you simply don't care, do you? By the time you got a youngest child, then you just let them get away with murder. That's parenting is 101, isn't it?
Well, it seems to be in our house, but yeah, I was one of 4. Well, as you are, Phil, but actually, I mean, it's you're actually me in your chain of siblings.
Yes.
Third son,
Yeah.
possibly the favourite. Wouldn't like to say. And then
no, Kev is definitely the favourite.
Oh, was he?
The one that doesn't do the podcast was definitely the favourite.
The one that got away. Yeah.
Yeah.
He and then and then a younger sister, just to ruin your life. But
Yeah. I know what you mean. With regards to not as younger sister ruining my life. I know what you mean by that. The favourite child, Kev, in our house.
Yeah.
He traditionally didn't like any sort of peas or vegetables or roast dinner, and so he was allowed, like at Christmas, a pot noodle because it was.
Wow.
But he was allowed it. No
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Okay,
He could
I
just
won't
do what he
talk
wants.
about the youngest child in my house then of what she has for Christmas dinner.
Oh, what's that?
Well, when I always cook the Christmas dinner for me, Christmas dinner for Mrs. Vicarage, Christmas dinner for the oldest son.
Sad music, Phil. Sad music.
Yeah.
Hang on. I'm getting there.
Oh.
And Christmas dinner for the youngest for the last must be 4 or 5 years now. Always a chicken korma.
Oh yes,
She always wants a chicken korma. She will not now deviate from this. This is Christmas tradition. Those of us who are used to having turkey for young Emma, always a chicken korma.
I mean, she won't budge an inch on that and have like a turkey korma. Surely she can
Well,
it's pretty much the same meat.
yeah,
right?
I may have a few times thrown a bit of turkey in instead of a chicken. I know she's not listening, but that has happened. That has happened in the past.
Gents, it feels like as good a time as any to have a quiz.
Oh, good. Yes.
Now, this quiz may go on for a long time and may get edited out completely, but we're going to do a quiz. It's a quiz, it's a quiz, it's a quiz, it's a quiz. There we go. So I want you to, I'm going to give you 5 seconds at a time to answer, and you're playing Crumble Flavor Tennis. So I will say to you at the start, well, the quiz is this. You have to think of a flavor of crumble that is widely accepted. Don't just go rogue and say, I don't know, carpet flavor crumble, for example, would not be an acceptable answer. You have 5 seconds, and once the other person has answered, to then give your answer. And if you take more than 5 seconds, you lose. Do you understand the rules?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Attention music, please. Okay, and we will start with Harry.
Rhubarb.
Apple.
Raspberry.
Sharp.
Gooseberry.
Oh, it's lovely to hear of the gooseberry.
Fig.
Oh, just in with fig. Lewis. Fig.
Blackberry.
Oh yes, I'd say that's an obvious one. Red currant.
Oh, wow, it's got rogue.
Strawberry.
Good, it's nice. I've had a strawberry
Oh,
crumble.
I have. I like a cooked strawberry.
Oh well, black currant.
Oh, right. Peach.
More of a
I think the
complex,
little
surely.
Mr. Kipling ones. I'm pretty sure there was a peach pie.
Hang on, pause the quiz. I mean, I will allow peach as an answer, but surely Mr. Kipling's never done a peach pie.
I was thinking more on a pie. The little. I'm pretty sure in the old variety packs there was.
Yeah,
a peach
yeah,
or an
no, I think
apricot one.
yeah. Well, it was an apple and blackcurrant, wasn't it?
It was.
Oh, they do a signature one, yeah.
Oh,
So, I think a peach would work well as a crumble. Never had it, but I'm
Yeah.
confident.
okay.
That's fine. Tension music will resume.
Apricot.
A blueberry.
Pear.
Oh, that's a great shout.
It's a good
A
shout.
plum.
Quince.
I'll allow it because it's fair.
Really, are we just naming fruits we can think of now?
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing.
Any fruit.
There's no way I would have thought of quince.
Banana.
No.
I've gone too far.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
I'd ran out of fruits. Banana was the only thing I could
was-
think of which I had in my house.
I was throughout that I was thinking I cannot go banana or orange. They were the only two I didn't feel
orange,
you could have.
Yeah,
as a crumble.
citrus would be. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
Why does banana
banana.
not work?
it's interesting.
Does it not work?
I think if you had a banana caramel crumble, that would be. Well, I just don't know.
Because a cooked banana is a nice thing when you sort of roast it in a fire or something with a bit of chocolate in it when you're camping.
That is
Yeah.
true, but we're not camping, and we were talking crumbles. So
Yeah.
I'm afraid
Okay.
that I think it's fair. I think we all agree. All
Yeah.
three of us agree. That
Banana.
banana crumble.
Step
You
too
have lost the
far.
quiz.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure I've never eaten a quince, so I can't state for how it would work in a crumble situation.
To be fair, a quince is fairly inedible, and you have to have it with something else. It's more, you'd put quince with apple to give it a bit of flavour. But yeah, my next one was meddler, which I really didn't know I was going to get away with. But yeah, anyway,
By this point, I would just assume that you're correct.
yeah.
And I feel like this will be the most controversial end to a quiz because when you Google banana crumble, there are recipes,
Oh,
but I feel like as the three of us were here, we all kind of agreed that was a stretch.
I felt I agree. I was pushing somewhat the limits of fillings for crumbles.
Okie doke.
yeah, it's interesting because crumble is sort of fruit based, isn't it? Which I know banana is a fruit, but banana sort of goes with chocolate or caramel, and I don't really think of that as a crumble.
But banana and custard is a good combination.
Well, yeah, no,
There
absolutely,
you are.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Is
why
it?
you then can't put a dusting of
Yeah.
butter and flour on top, I don't know. But
I have a theory. I'll come
right,
back to it after the quiz theme. That was the quiz.
Oh.
It's a quiz, it's a quiz, it's a quiz, it's a quiz. Right, my theory is bananas can't be grown in Britain and we live in England. And I think that we were, I believe, only naming things that you grow in this country, weren't we?
Peaches.
Yeah,
yeah, you can. Oh, you
Yeah,
can.
can
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
grow
Okay.
peaches.
Oh,
Yeah,
over to
yeah.
Gardener's World. I
Hang on.
did
Yeah.
not know you could grow
Yeah.
peaches.
Harry, now name every fruit you can grow in England.
Yeah. Well, no, you can grow peaches. You can grow them successfully outside, but they need to be on like a south-facing wall. They need to have plenty of sunshine. But you can grow peaches, nectarines, or as my son calls them, nectarines for some reason.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have no idea why. And apricots, in fact, you can grow.
The,
They're better in a greenhouse, but they can be grown outside.
Right.
the lady who the lovely lady who used
Mrs.
to
Bartlett?
no didn't no I said lovely lady. So the lovely lady
God
who
rest her soul.
God rest her soul, yes, sadly she's passed away, Mrs. Pressey. She used to have a swimming pool that she
She
allowed
did.
any children that went to the youth club for the church in the village. They were allowed to use her swimming pool, which was in a greenhouse all summer long. It was incredible. It wasn't heated; it was freezing. And Mike won't like me talking about the swimming pool because it's his domain. He lived there, and he really did adore the place. But she grew peaches all around the outskirts of the swimming pool in the greenhouse, very successfully.
Wow. Sounds like
Lovely.
you were sort of in the south of France or something with swimming pools with
In the
Yeah.
Lido.
peaches and in the
Yeah.
village. Wow, what a childhood.
Yeah, what a childhood. That's something that's not been said before. So I'll take it.
It's quite interesting actually because if it was a wartime dessert, the crumble, because you didn't have bananas in the war, did you?
Correct. Maybe
Um,
that's why.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
right.
you did have them in other parts of the world.
What
They
bananas?
did. They existed before
Oh,
World War
well,
II.
obviously, yeah.
Oh,
What crumble or
Do
bananas?
you get
Bananas.
crumbles in other parts of the world, or is crumble very much a British domain? I would have thought.
In America, it's called a crisp. An apple crisp would be what they would call what we would
Oh.
call an apple crumble.
Right. Okay.
Not to be confused with a cobbler,
Yeah.
where
Well,
they
yeah.
that's a different ball game altogether. Do you want some questions?
Yeah.
What, in a
Absolutely.
quiz form or just questions about crumble?
Yeah, I
We're
felt
not
we've
having
done
enough.
the quiz.
We've done the quiz. Yes, hit us with the questions.
Some questions. Kerry says cooked fruit is completely wrong, with maybe the exception of cherries. I mean,
Oh, we didn't name cherries as a possible. Be a very expensive crumble, wouldn't it?
It was
oh gosh,
nice black cherry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry, I don't really understand the question.
it's
Cooked
more
fruit
an observation.
is not acceptable.
No cooked fruit.
Yeah, I did go back and say, do you mean every cooked fruit? And they and Kerry said yes, maybe with the exception of cherries.
Oh.
Very
Mm,
strange. Something we
wow.
can. We used to grow cherries as when I was growing up. Yep.
I mean, cherries is the last fruit I would have thought of cooking. Most other ones I'm perfectly happy with, but yeah, a cherry surely, unless it's
If
been glacéed, should be
oh
raw.
oh love
A
a
glacé,
glacier.
a glacé cherry.
Is it a
Yeah.
glacé? I always called it glacier, like Fox's glacier mints. Is it a glacé cherry?
Well, there's
I
no
always-
R on the end, is there?
Yeah, I think I call it a glacé. But
Oh, what have I done my whole life? Yet another mistake that I'll have to
Yeah,
dwell on
no,
once we finish.
yeah.
Once we finish recording.
yeah, I'm not sure many of us agree with Kerry on this.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm
I'm,
afraid.
I'm
Kerry,
trying to. I'm now trying to think what fruits are better cooked than raw or in their
Well,
natural
I mean,
form.
your aforementioned quince. I don't think you could.
Right.
I don't technically
Okay.
think it's edible in
Right,
its raw
okay.
state.
I
Yeah.
think I do prefer a cooked apple than a fresh apple.
Yeah, and I
Um,
don't see the hype with pink ladies. I feel that it's just a matter of people seeing it cost more, therefore thinking it's better.
Yes,
Give me a Granny Smith.
nice
That's-
sharp Granny Smith. Sometimes
Mm.
very tough skin. Though I find Granny Smith.
I can cope with that.
Yeah,
Got teeth.
yeah.
Whilst you were saying that cherries would be the last fruit you would cook, may I suggest a grape?
Yeah. You're not cooking a grape, are you?
No one's.
If
I
you-
mean,
if
they
you-
would.
if-
They would be molten inside if you tried biting into a cooked grape. Or they'd just shrivel up, wouldn't they, and turn
Wouldn't you
into
be
raisins?
making a raisin? Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
Yeah.
you'd be furious if you found that in the middle of your
Oh
crumble.
yeah.
just justifying my views.
Yeah.
Yep,
Unless
that is fair. Right, Jeff says, why do people serve crumbles in a skillet? Are you a hipster? And this is an excellent point. I will add ramekins to his skillet. Why do they do that in restaurants? Because then you end up with a molten hot fruit underneath that rips off the roof of your mouth, doesn't it? You see, they put them in tiny ramekins like they're feeding it to a
Yeah.
toddler. Why?
Are you? Because I guess when I think crumble, I'm thinking this is a multi-person dish that's served perhaps on a after Sunday dinner where people are sort of having their servings. I'm just trying to think of whether I've ever had a sort of an individual made crumble,
You
Yeah,
don't want
no.
one.
which is
No.
guess would be the reason you put it in a ramekin for having in a restaurant or something.
Yeah,
I
Toby.
don't think I'd order a crumble in a restaurant.
No, because
Like,
you risk
home-cooked
getting
food.
oats.
Of course.
It's the oat risk.
It's this dangerous game. But yeah, he also. So I agree with him. I don't know why they put it in skillets, Jeff. His true question is: ginger biscuits or hobnobs in the crumbly topping? I mean, we didn't talk about either of those, both of which seem controversial. Harry, your face is doing something.
Well, I mean, hobnob is essentially a compressed muesli, isn't it? So that's gonna. So it's oats. And what ginger? Well, I mean, it depends what I suppose cinnamon. That's a flavouring can go in the topping as well. So I suppose you could have ginger, but you wouldn't. I don't know. I don't think you'd want ginger and apple, would you?
Wouldn't be my natural sort of go.
I suppose.
I think it'd be okay, but I'm not sure it'd be.
In rhubarb, I suppose ginger goes all right with
Yeah.
rhubarb. Yeah,
It does, that's true.
I think avoid. Well, I suppose it's like an inverse cheesecake, isn't it? That you
Yeah.
have the biscuit base where you could actually just crumble up the biscuits for the topping rather than make a crumble topping. Is that what he means, or is he's adding it?
It's sounding like he's making what I would term a lazy crumble, where
Yeah.
he's just making the fruit and sprinkling some biscuits on top. Maybe that's how he makes crumble. Who knows?
Yeah, well, maybe that's how you get 10 out of 10 in Mrs. Bartlett's home economics class.
You
By
don't. Because
thinking completely outside the box and just crumbling a few digestives on the top.
Jeff would have issues getting 10 out of 10 because he was born a boy, and
Yes,
therefore
well, that's true. And innovation is not the key to success.
correct. We've learnt this. You would not approve of changes. Neil in Australia says,
Yeah.
could you use?
Sorry, say that again because actually that was quite impressive.
Neil in Australia. I can't say
Ooh,
Australia without saying Australia.
Australia.
Just before we go any further,
Oh yeah.
we've got an Australian listener. Was Neil at any point resident in the village of Alderholt?
No.
So
He's
this is a
actually
genuine
Australian.
listener outside of the village
This is
bounds.
amazing,
Wow.
Australia.
Okay, I'm excited now. What does Neil have to say?
Neil says, "Can you use?" And I mean, this sums up Australians. Maybe. I mean, I do love Australians, and Neighbours is an excellent
Yeah,
program.
yeah.
Could you? And you're in my eyes, you're welcome in Eurovision. You know, I'm fine with that. Just don't let the Americans in. Anyway, so
Shout out to our American listeners. You're
Yes.
very welcome. We love having you here.
We've got one.
what?
We've got an American listener.
Oh, sorry.
But anyway, sorry, we're on Australia now.
I thought you were declaring you were American. I was puzzled.
No, don't think so.
So Neil from Australia says, Australia,
G'day.
g'day. He says, can you use Heinz apple baby puree food as a filling in Crumble as a cheat?
Well, again, the economics, the home economics of it is not right. I mean, how much is that going to cost you to make a
That's a
to
great
make a
point.
Crumble?
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
incredible expensive.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe in Australia they buy apple puree for babies in huge vats and it
could
doesn't
do.
cost as much as over here.
Yeah.
But my beliefs are that Australia is extortionate as a place to buy food.
Yeah. I'm excited. I don't think I realised that Heinz was sort of such a worldwide brand.
Oh, they get around. Do you want a fact about Heinz? Actually, I've got a question. Neil, if you listen to this, can you please cost up how much it would cost to make a crumble using Heinz apple baby puree as a base and let us know how expensive that would be in Aussie dollars? And don't worry about doing the exchange rate. I'll do that for you as part of the deal. Let us know. Get back to us on that. And Heinz, do you know a fact about Heinz?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Heinz 53 or whatever I think it's
57.
57. Thank you.
Yeah.
So my fact is already sounding like I made it up more because of that.
Yeah.
But do you know why it's 57?
Well, I thought they did 50. I thought the ketchup was the 57th variety of something that they made.
A common mistake.
Yeah, that's fine. But just while we're on that, it is a common misconception that you can tap the 57 on a glass bottle and the ketchup will come out. Does not work. Anyway, carry on.
Who told you that?
I've never heard that, but I'm going to definitely try that.
Well, don't bother because it doesn't work. I've already told
Oh.
you. Sorry, YouTube video about it or something. Anyway, right. Why is it 57?
Because Mr. Heinz,
Yes.
and his favorite number was 5 and his wife's favorite number was 7, and they had seen on another product that was for sale in America that it was, I can't remember what the product was because I haven't done enough prep for this podcast, but Heinz copied another product that was like, let's just say the product was wardrobes, because I'm looking at one, wardrobe 56. They thought, oh, that sounds really distinguished, so they just chose 2 of their favorite numbers and put it on there. And that's why it's there. It's nothing to do with the amount of varieties.
Right. The most concerning part of that to me is that somebody's favourite number is 7.
Yeah.
Why would you have an odd number as a favourite number?
Oh, well, 3 is my favorite number.
What?
Because it's... What?
No, really?
Yeah, it's the best number. We don't have time to argue about the best
I
number,
think,
Lewis.
I think we all know 5 is the best number.
Oh,
5.
no.
Ooh.
8 is the best number.
It's
Right.
his birthdays.
This is madness. 8. I mean, 5 being a favorite number is the comment of a simpleton.
But it's not because my birthday's on the 5th of the month, so that's why 5 is my favorite number.
Oh, that is selfish. That is.
Well, yeah, but it's my favorite number. Sorry, I didn't realize I had to consider everyone else when choosing my favorite number.
If you
Honestly, wow.
You should have put it to the team first, really.
Should have done. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Why is 3 the best number? Come on, let's unpack this.
There is absolutely no. There doesn't need to be an argument. It just is my favorite number. It just is.
Oh, so it's your opinion, and
Yeah,
that's
controversially, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Wow.
So
And sorry, just to wrap this up, what's your
Yeah.
favorite number, Lewis?
My favourite
8.
number is 8.
8. Good. Yeah.
Because it's a bit like a Scare Electric's racetrack.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I always
nice,
liked it for
like
that
it.
reason.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Good.
That is a justified reason.
Yeah,
like that.
I'll
Yeah.
accept that. In fact, you know what? 8's now my favourite number too.
Oh, welcome, Harry. Welcome
Yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah,
club.
yeah.
It's just the two of us.
I'm not changing.
Because 3 is a sort of unfinished 8, if you think
It is.
about it,
It's
isn't
just
it?
it's
So
half.
you're
It's
just
half as good as an
it's
8.
half as good. Rubbish. Anyway, sorry. And by the way,
Yeah.
don't feel bad that you haven't researched Heinz for a
No.
specifically Apple Crumble based podcast. I don't feel you actually needed to have done any research
Thank
into
you.
every sort of food product company.
You're very kind. It's just
Yes.
maybe I should have done just in case.
Yeah, just in
Maybe
case.
I should research on the side. Next week I'll research bachelors or something just in case. So
I mean, if you're just in case researching for this podcast, you're going to be doing a lot of, you're gonna be doing a
Which is
lot
the
of
best
research.
number?
I'm delving more into that number thing after the pod.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave asks, cream, custard, or ice cream?
Well,
I've already said cream and custard. Custard and ice cream. But I mean, if cream was there as well, I wouldn't be averse to putting that on as well.
yeah. The hot and cold of custard and ice cream in the same bowl is absolutely delicious, and a bit of cream to galvanise the whole thing would be delicious. Yeah.
I don't want to cause controversy, but I
Here we
feel
go.
that I might.
3.
Uh-oh.
Is it? Oh, is it? Well, no, you should like it because there's 3 things in the bowl there. That 3 is your favourite number.
Yeah. I'm all for cream, custard, and ice cream together.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. When I make custard, if I'm using shop bought custard,
Yeah.
which is fine, we're all human. We don't all have time to make custard from scratch. But if I'm using shop bought custard, I add about 25% of my custard is evaporated milk.
Oh.
I mix it in. It's incredible. My nan used to do similar. It is special.
Oh, it does sound like a nice tip. I can
Yeah.
imagine that. I might try that.
And it doesn't even thin the custard because it seems to get absorbed by if you just whip it round the custard before you heat up the custard, and it just seems to join in the fun.
Lovely.
But that evaporated milk there is good.
So you only have that on you only have that on your own then? You don't feel that the
Oh no,
you
I'll have custard. I have ice cream with that if you.
Oh, okay, right. No, good. That's fine. Yeah.
But if I'm in custard, when I make custard now, I always add evaporated milk.
Yeah, no, absolutely
That's good.
delicious. In fact, you know what? I think just not have the crumble. Just a lovely bowl of ice cream, custard, and cream would do me fine.
Ah, it's a lovely meal.
It's sort of the
Lovely meal.
summer alternative to having a wintry crumble.
Yes. Anyway, sorry.
Andy asks, is it true that Granny Smiths are the best apples to use in a crumble? Harry, I'm going there.
Well, so I mean, classically, you've got 3 types of apple. One is an eating apple, one is a dessert apple, and one is a cooking apple. Cooking apples are sharper, and on that basis, that's why they are generally used in cooking because they're sharper, have more flavour, arguably, and then you can add sugar to them to create your puree. But a Granny Smith, being quite a sharp green apple, would actually work just as well. But it generally an eating apple is too sweet when you cook it down, I think, in my opinion, which isn't valid.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think you've got some great opinions.
Yeah.
You just mentioned the word puree though, which
Yes.
is I'm worried about that.
Yeah, no. It was a back reference to our
okay.
Antipodean friend who was using puree, but I think it was a general way of me using to talk about the cooking process as you cook down your apple into.
That's fine. I'm not
Yeah.
interrogating you.
No,
You're
well,
not,
you
you're not
seem
going to get
to.
arrested.
I mean, crikey.
Mickey says crumble must be served with both vanilla ice cream and custard. There is no questions here. And James asks, cinnamon or no cinnamon in an apple crumble?
I would say cinnamon. Yeah.
yeah, either is valid. I think. I mean, I don't. It obviously gives it a slightly different taste. But if you don't like cinnamon, some people don't. Have it without. It's a free country, and we do what we like within parameters strictly.
Yeah, remind us,
down
did,
to a
did
science.
Mrs. Bartlett like a cinnamon? Bit of cinnamon?
Of course not. This is where we came in. She hated cinnamon. Newfangled.
Yeah, they don't want any of that new foreign not in my crumble. That's what she was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, cinnamon in with the apple mixture or on the top or both.
Apple mixture would, for me.
Yeah, I would definitely go apple mixture. I wouldn't be offended by a bit sprinkled on the top as well.
Can I just warn people of the dangers of sprinkling cinnamon on top of the crumble mix? When you go to bake it, it does make it hard to see whether it's cooked.
Yeah, note that, Lewis. You were wrong
Okay.
then in your opinion on that.
No, you
Okay.
weren't. You weren't. It's
Right.
just
So
you have to mix it in with the crumble
there.
mix well, because
Right.
otherwise it's hard to tell whether it's browned or whether you've just got cinnamon on the top.
So in 90s Crumble Middle School in Phil Botto's Crumble, the cinnamon was in the apple mixture, or was it on the top?
I thought I'd hidden it well enough in the apple mixture for her not to see it. I couldn't dare put it on the top. Gosh, I mean, she'd have chucked me outside. Yeah,
Okay.
can't be doing that.
I think you did, and what's happened is you've undercooked it, and the crumble was raw underneath, and that's where you lost that valuable point. And Jenny Lever's got the cup.
I'd be heartbroken if that is to be. I
think I just think you've misremembered this, and that's actually what happened.
No, I don't think so.
A heavy dusting of cinnamon on the top. Because possibly you realised you hadn't realised it was quite so strong or dark brown, and you thought it was cooked, and actually it was raw.
So I'm hopeful that isn't the case. It was the only thing when we made when we had home economics and we did our cookery, like at that particular time, my family were completely skint. Like we had no money. Dad was out of work and stuff like that. So when I had to make the crumble, Mum therefore had to buy the ingredients for the crumble, probably against her will, because she probably had better things to spend money on. I had to bring home the crumble and feed it to my whole family, and I ate a large amount of it on the bus and felt so much guilt. So, Mum, if you're listening, I apologise that you only got half a crumble. It was a very sad time. So, very sorry. Yeah, I just had a bad day, Mum. I just had a bad day.
Yeah. Everyone else had to have shredded wheat for pudding.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Gents, our time is up. I hope we've all had fun, and we'll see you on the next episode. Any other business?
I just talking of Mrs. Bartlett. My abiding memory of home economics at Crumble Middle School was someone who brought in some sort of synthetic material to make something with, and put the iron on hot, and actually melted a cartoon iron shape through his material and lifted it up. And Mrs. Bartlett, I mean, it probably finished her off, was very angry about that. But no, I have nothing further to add on Crumble. Thank you.
Was he a boy by any chance?
Of course he was.
Yes, it all makes sense.
And she'd trusted him with the iron, and she'd given him a look saying, well, you don't know what to do with that, do you? Because you're a boy. And yeah, she was proved right.
Oh dear. Oh, bless her. Lewis, anything to add?
No, I think we've covered every conceivable possibility with Crumble in this episode.
I think we have. Well, gents, thank you, and thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Bye.
Cheery bye.